In this video we're going to review the Space Marine Outriders. We'll have a look at their stat line, special abilities, movement, shooting and combat, discuss the pros and cons and give them a rating out of 5. Hello and welcome to Planet 40k, I'm Eugenio and today we're talking about Space Marine Outriders. They're at 45 points each or 6 power level. At the moment they come in squads of 3, however I expect to be able to add a few more once 9th edition Codex comes out. Let's have a quick look at their stat line. So they have movement 14, which is same as a standard Marine biker, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7 and a 3+ save, and the sergeant gets an extra attack and an extra leadership. They've got the usual Angels of Death ability and 2 unique ones. So Shock Assault gives them +1 to attack in any phase in which they make a charge move, were charged or performed heroic intervention. Bolter Discipline allows them to make double shots with their twin bolt rifles. Next we move on to their unique abilities. So the first one is Turbo Boost, which the Space Marine bikers also have, which allows them to move 6 for their advance instead of rolling a d6. The second ability is the main one, which is Devastating Charge, which allows them to make 2 extra attacks each when they charge. So this one's really powerful. So the movement on these guys is the same as a normal Space Marine biker. 14 inches is pretty decent, and with a Turbo Boost you're getting 20 inches if you really need to get to an objective or something important. As their Primarist, I thought they might increase the movement by a couple of inches, but I'm kind of glad they've stuck with the 14 inches. Because you wouldn't want them to get buffed too much and it will be a bit silly. If you want to make the most out of the tactical and assault doctrines, it might be worth considering putting them into strategic reserves for 1 command point to avoid being shot at first turn. However, you will sacrifice being able to move and charge, so I'm not sure if this will be worth it, especially with only 3 in a unit at the moment. The shooting on these guys is pretty decent. They each come with a twin bolt rifle. It's range 30 inches, rapid fire 2, strength 4, AP -1 and 1 damage. With the Bolter Discipline rule you'll be getting 4 shots each, hitting on 3s. So with a squad of 3 that's an average of 8 hits and approximately 1 to 2 wound against toughness 8 units, 2 to 3 wounds against toughness 5 to 7 units, 4 wounds against toughness 4 units and 5 to 6 wounds against toughness 3 units. So they seem pretty good at taking out mid to low toughness targets and might scrape a wound or 2 from a monster or tank. The Outriders also come armed with a heavy bolt pistol. It's range 18, strength 4, AP -1 and 1 damage. So this is one for if you're stuck in combat. It's a nice little bonus for them really. Also, while the tactical doctrine is active, you'll get AP -2 on all these bolter shots, so that's a nice buff too. You've also got the option of frag and crack grenades, however I don't see them getting used that much, so maybe a crack grenade occasionally. So the Outriders have 2 attacks base and 3 for the sergeant in combat, but that's only half the story really. So they are armed with Astartes chainsword, so it's strength user, which is 4, AP -1 and 1 damage. In addition, when the bearer fights, they make 1 additional attack with this weapon. So now we're on 3 attacks and 4 for the sergeant. Next we can add 1 for Shock Assault, which will be in play most of the time if you're in combat. So now that's 4 attacks and 5 for the sergeant. And on top of that, if you make a Devastating Charge, then you get an extra 2 attacks. And with them being so fast, you should be able to charge into something no problem really. So now we have a grand total of 6 attacks and 7 for the sergeant. So a minimum squad of 3 of these guys will have a whopping 19 attacks on the charge, which is pretty insane. With their weapon skill of 3+, they'll get approximately 12 to 13 hits and approximately 2 wounds against a toughness 8 model, 4 to 5 wounds against toughness 5 to 7 models, 6 to 7 wounds against toughness 4 models, and 8 to 9 wounds against toughness 3 models. So it's crazy how many attacks these guys can get, and with AP -1 standard and AP -2 when the assault doctrine kicks in, these guys are pretty decent in combat. It'll be interesting to see if we can get any melee weapon upgrades when the Codex comes out. so it would make them a bit more versatile then. So next let's talk about the pros and cons for these guys. At 45 points each, I think these guys are pretty good value. With the amount of firepower and attacks along with their toughness 5 and 4 wounds, each model is like a mini HQ really. So even without the devastating charge they get a decent amount of attacks, but with this addition it just makes them that bit more competitive in combat. One of the main reasons I love these guys is that they have 4 wounds and toughness 5, which really gives them a good chance of staying alive, especially if you're able to get them to an apothecary if they're wounded. Their speed and durability makes them great for grabbing objectives and holding them as well. On top of their insane amount of attacks in combat, they also dish out a load of bolter rounds at great range, and even have the option of the heavy bolt pistol whilst they're in combat. So as it stands, you can only have 3 of these guys in a squad, which isn't great for getting as many of these guys as possible in your list. However, I'm expecting this to change once the Codex comes out, so White Scars players, keep an eye out. At the moment, your Outrider Sergeant doesn't have the option to swap out their chainsword or pistol. However, like I said before, this could very well change when the Codex comes out. If you're able to upgrade his weapons, I think it'll be really good. Definitely looking forward to seeing the Codex. The Outriders are really good for anything toughness 7 and under. However, you'll struggle against toughness 8 and above. You really don't want to be wasting these guys on targeting a Land Raider, for instance. So something to bear in mind, especially if you're new to the game. It's not really what they're designed for, so it's not really that bad. Like with the first 2 points, this may change when the Codex comes out and you're able to take a lot of these guys, especially with the weapons upgrades. So with so many high damage weapons in the game, 4 wounds can go quickly if your opponent targets them correctly. However, this may be to your advantage if you've got other more valuable targets that you're shielding. If these guys are targeted by heavy weapons with high strength and damage, they're going to go down pretty quickly, so just bear that in mind when putting them in your list. So I can see these guys being very popular in 9th edition, as long as they're not nerfed somehow when the Codex comes out. At 20 points more than a Space Marine biker, you're getting an extra 2 wounds, an extra attack, plus another 2 on the charge with the devastating charge. 6-inch increased range with the bolt weapons, and AP-1 all round. I think as the Outriders are almost double the price of the regular Space Marine bikers, some people might prefer to have more bodies rather than have these more elite bikers. But if you're running a Primaris army, I think these guys are a must-have, at least for your collection, if not for your lists. They're a good all-round unit with great movement, shooting and combat ability, and they'll be able to fulfill a number of roles depending on how you run them. And also they should have good synergy with a number of chapters and characters, White Scars being an obvious one, and Dark Angels maybe, and Blood Angels. So as well as that, they benefit from both the tactical and assault doctrines, which is nice. So overall, I'm really excited about this unit, and I hope they live up to their expectations. I'll give them a Planet 40k rating of 4 out of 5 stars. So please let me know in the comments what you think of the Outriders, and also keep an eye out for more in-depth tactics reviews, probably once the Codex comes out. If you'd like the video, please click the like button to help us promote it. And if you'd like to support the channel further and see more 40k content from us, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to press the bell notifications to be updated as well. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next video.